Good morning, my friends. You know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? It is 9:45 in the AM on a Wednesday, and that means it's time for a little Java with Jen. Java with Jen. Java with Jen. Pah. That's right, little jazz fingers here in the morning. Can I get a little jazz fingers? Oh, yeah. If we haven't met yet, my name's Jen Koken, and I'm your friendly neighborhood executive leadership coach for women in STEM and other male dominated industries who are tired of trying to whittle themselves down just to fit in with somebody else's idea of who they should be. Women work with me, and after they work with me, they learn to lead with authenticity, inspiring their team and making the kind of impact they want to make. They become the kind of leader people naturally want to follow and not in a creepy or stocky way. So you may have noticed I didn't come on last week because I was on vacation. Sorry, I didn't let you know. But man, I haven't had a vacation in almost a year. And I here's the thing. I was in Rhode Island with my family at the beach. It was lovely. And I really wanted to make sure. And by the way, today's Java with Jen is not just about my vacation, it's about vulnerability, the power of vulnerability, the power of authenticity and community. So I was on vacation last week. And like I said, I have not been on a vacation in a very long time. So I really wanted to be present with my family. We usually do a cousins reunion once a year. And so I was there for our usual barbecue, and we can walk to the beach and hang out and chat and just have fun. And so, I did everything the week before to make sure I was set up to be fully on vacation and fully present. And you know how hard that is as a leader to take time off. And as an entrepreneur or running a company, whatever your leadership role is, it's really hard to unplug at times. I think part of it is we think we are indispensable, that something is going to go wrong if we're not there. And the other part is it's just freaking hard to unplug when you're so used to going at top speed so often. You know what I mean? Can you feel me? So I did everything I knew to set myself up to be present and fully with my family. In fact, I think I worked till like 8 o'clock Friday night, drove up Saturday morning, and just made sure everything was off my plate. Everything was taken care of that I could think of that might come up. Everyone on my team was set up to do things for me. And all went well until about Thursday of last week. Now, I had a great time unplugging, playing, being at the beach, having good meals with my family, that sort of thing. And then Thursday rolls around and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be heading back on Saturday. Let me see what's up. Let me just check in. Dumb idea. Number one, if you're on vacation, be on vacation until you get back. Be on vacation until you get back. Don't check your emails or your text messages. You'll probably end up the way that I was, which was like pretty much a bundle of stress and worry and then a puddle of tears. So, checked my email. I was about to go to sleep at like 10 o'clock at night. Again, dumb idea to check my phone at 10 o'clock at night. And it wasn't anything big, like huge, that needed my attention, but it was about 7 different things that caught me by surprise that just when stacked up together felt like a ton of bricks on my head. And I always have to remember, I am not a doctor. I am not saving lives. Okay. So it was not a life or death scenario, but it doesn't matter. The level of stress that I experienced was insane. And it was all things that were easily fixable. It was just these 7 things. I won't even go into them because who the heck cares? It's not important. It was these 7 things, right, in a row. Well, I was worried and stressed so long that I was up till 3:30 in the morning. And I knew I sent a couple of emails to people I needed to. I reached out to some members of my team and they even said to me, "Look, we can fix this. It's not a big deal. We'll make this good." But still, I was hemming and hawing and oh my God, and just feeling overwhelmed and feeling the stress and the weight of my responsibilities on my shoulders, just like super weighed down. So when I woke up the next day, I slept later than I ever did, than I usually do. I'm usually up between 6 and 7, but I slept until 9, needed the sleep. And I was still in a funk and still not quite right, you know? And my cousin was working who I was staying with, so I knew I had some time to myself, and I was just kind of like, "What do I do? I'm not gonna sit down and start working and solving this, but I'm in a funk," and it felt like the weight of the world, as I said, but everything's gonna go wrong. Oh my gosh, it's all gonna turn out terribly kinda thing. I was in this doomsday spiral, you know what I mean? So I'm part of an amazing networking group called the Dames, which is a networking group for women that run 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses. And these are women that have been my ride or die for the last 5 years. When I was going through breast cancer, they had my back. When I needed to pivot in my business or talk to somebody about something, a bunch of people will raise their hand and say, "Talk to me." So they've always had my back. So I knew there was a phone call I could choose to get on, even though I had taken it out of my calendar. I saw the email reminder and I thought, "Okay, I'm gonna get on there." And during that hour together, I get to have 15 minutes in the hottie seat, meaning I could present a challenge and ask them to pour into me. And literally, the moment I got on the call with them, I started crying. I'm going to start crying right now thinking about it. Because when you're in a safe space to be able to express your emotions and that people are going to remind you of who you are. And this is the power of networking. It's not that you have to be crying when you're showing your vulnerability, but you want to have a network of people around you and create a safe space where if things are going haywire, these are the people that have your back. And they're also the people that are going to kick your butt as well. So I'm not talking about, we all have those friends. We just go out and we need some time to vent and complain and drink a glass of wine. I feel like there's those friends. And then there's the people that I know I can go to when I'm in the middle of a spiral. And look, we all have them. I have them too. So I hope you realize that I'm human too. That when I'm in the middle of a spiral, they will not just remind me of who I am, but also kick my butt and say, "Look, here's the things you're not thinking of. Here's what you should be thinking about or could be thinking about." So, man, oh man, on that call, I just shared what's been going on, which is, if you didn't know, I have a book coming out in March. That book is heading to the publisher. We're in the midst of prepping that. Of all the things that go along with a book launch, and it is hotter than the Dickens here in Annapolis, Maryland. So I'm turning on my fan. Hopefully, it won't disturb us. But I had that going on. I am going to be expanding some of my business to make my offerings more accessible to not just executive women, but emerging leaders and those leaders that are new managers. And so there's been a lot of thought going into that. I was recently certified as a woman-owned business, and there's a whole strategy that goes along with that. Oh, by the way, and I have a family to take care of and to think about, and friends, and my health, and there's all the other things that go along with it. But mostly, what I was overwhelmed by was this impending sense of doom, even though logically I knew everything was going to be okay emotionally in my body. And that's really important as leaders. We want to be able to be present so we can notice the stress and tension in our bodies, because a lot of times that gives us a clue that we're off and not quite right before our mind can comprehend, if that makes sense. So I knew logically things were going to be okay, but I was holding on to this stress in my body. Your cells have gray matter, and your cells store every memory of anything that's ever happened to you. So if you don't have practices to release those emotions, to work through those emotions, something as simple as dancing around in the morning or exercise or walking or anything like those, if you don't have something like that, it's important that you do. So in those 15 minutes, I was crying. I was vulnerable. I shared all my worries and concerns. And the key thing for me was thinking through this new business strategy that I have and uncertain whether it was going to turn out okay. Now, the other women on the call weren't the exact same business owner that I am. But the thing I said to them is, have any of you launched a book, had these different things happening, and how did it work out for you? What do I not know? What am I not seeing that I don't even know to see that will give me some ideas or opportunities or things I'm not thinking about? What don't I know that I don't even know? You know? That call was amazing. Number 1, they thanked me for my vulnerability because from afar, people may look at you or look at me and say, "Oh, she has her you know what together, her shizzle together." But we all have those moments by ourselves where we question and doubt ourselves. And it's important to have people around us, like I said, who are going to remind us of who we are. So they did that. They made me feel it was okay to be expressing that emotion. They also reminded me that everything is going to turn out, and then they gave me some wise counsel of things to think about, and many of them offered to talk to me one-on-one. This, my friends, is the power of vulnerability and community. Now, do you want to have crying jags at work? Oh no, we don't. But you do want to be able to put a network together, whether at work or elsewhere, so that when you are in a space of, I'm going to put it this way, like discomfort, worry, concern, um, anger, upset, whatever it is, that you feel safe to be able to express emotion, and it's safe enough that you don't think anyone's going to retaliate or hold it against you or think less of you. Does that make sense? So, man, um, it was an incredible cathartic experience. I haven't cried that much in a long time. Clearly, my body needed to release some stress and worry. I felt like, when you're a little kid and you cry and at the end of it you feel good and you're exhausted, that's how I felt. And then they had such great ideas and they were so comforting in the resources that they offered me. So, 2 lessons here. 1, tap into the power of your vulnerability. I don't most people think of vulnerability as a bad thing, that you're vulnerable to attack. When I talk about vulnerability, I mean having the confidence that you can express yourself honestly with no fear of retaliation, that you can truly express what you're feeling. Now, you may have a partner at home who supports you like that, a best friend who supports you like that. Those are all, or other friends that support you like that. Those are all great forums to be able to be yourself, to be able to be true to yourself. You could also build that at work or within a network where you feel like other women really get what you're dealing with because they've been in the same position that you have. And so that's the power of community. Your community can't support you if they don't know what you're dealing with. So I'm encouraging you to take a page out of my book. Don't wait until it gets to the point where you've got to cry uncontrollably. Reach out when you're feeling dis-ease in your body where something doesn't feel quite right. And before that, make sure you've got those people to reach out to who are going to support you unconditionally. That's what I got today for you, friends. This has been Java with Jen, and I'm Jen Koken. Like I said, your friendly neighborhood executive leadership coach. I'd love to hear in the comments, like how does this come across to you? Do you feel free to be vulnerable at work or with friends? Do you have that community? Maybe you just feel free to be vulnerable at home and not at work. I mean, honestly, there's a time and a place for everything. And we want to make sure that I want to make sure that you're fully and totally supported. So, comment below. Let me know. Do you have community? Who is it? Who's in your corner? Who do you rely on to have these kinds of conversations with? And if you need anything, just reach out. Happy to have a virtual coffee with you. And I can be that person for you, my friend. I truly can. I can listen without judgment. I'll be your biggest champion and also your biggest butt kicker and remind you, like, hey, you got this, pat you on the back and put you back in the game. All right. Ciao for now.